At Bridgeville. Right now, Brick & Dodge has their biggest inventory of new vehicles in years. Come in and get your best deal.
Patrick Waugh, one-time Montreal Canadien, now a member of the Colorado Avalanche and the goaltender when they won their cup a couple of years back. The Penguins made a couple of roster changes today. Number one, they have called up Jean-Sébastien Aubin from Scranton Wilkes-Barre. He, of course, replaces Tom Barrasso, who's out with the knee. That means Peter Skudra will get the call in goal tonight. The Pens today also signed former number one draft pick Milan Kraft to a contract. He stays with Prince Albert in the Juniors Western Hockey League. And Tom Katsopoulos, he was playing in Wilkes-Barre Scranton. They both signed professional contracts. When Kevin Constantine first came here 3 years ago, 2 seasons ago, he got a reputation as being a defense-only coach. And he played that way his first year in 97-98, and people got the idea that he couldn't expand his horizons. Well, Kevin Constantine played that way because if you remember those Penguin teams, that's the only way they could win, to clog up the neutral zone, play the trap, look for goals when they could possibly get them. But when they began to collect some skilled and talented forwards, you saw Kevin open up the offense. Last year, the Penguins, one of the highest goal-scoring teams in the Eastern Conference, and thus far, they've shown an ability to open it full throttle with 11 goals in the first 2 games. That is the mark of a great coach. Chuck Noll played defense and running game early on, but when Bradshaw matured and he had those wide receivers, he let him go. So he is very adaptable, the mark of a very good coach, and tonight he opens his 3rd season, only this time he's working for a brand new boss.
Mario is one of the greatest players ever, and to consider the fact we have one of the greatest players ever now as an owner, and the owner is the start of the leadership, and then it just trickles right on down through our coaches and captains and team leaders. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better situation. The same mind that got him to do the great things he did on the ice is certainly capable of helping this team and offering suggestions as to how we can get better. So it's great. We're excited. The biggest disappointment coming here was I got here a year too late and never got a chance to work with Mario as a coach, player. So we get to start that all over again in terms of having him back in the organization. So that's really an exciting opportunity. I think it's important. I think a coach always is going to be considered a little bit defensive because the parts of the game the players love is the offensive part. Having the puck and doing things with the puck excites every player that's ever played the game. And so players are naturally motivated to be good offensively. I think a coach has to sell and motivate a team to be good defensively too. And I think in today's game, you can't be just one or the other. You have to be both. But all the teams I've ever coached generally have started pretty good defensively, have started a little slow offensively, and as the season's gone on, have gotten better and better offensively. And so I think it's mistaken identity when people say that we're just a defensive club. I think the last 2 years is evidence that we will try to do whatever is best for the personnel we have to win hockey games. 2 years ago, we had a little more defensive personality to our players, and so we were a very good defensive team. Last year, our team had a little more offensive flavor in each of the players that made up our team. We tried to take advantage of that, and last year we were a better offensive team. So ultimately, hopefully, we can put them both together and be a great two-way team that can win a cup. I always believe there's a chance. I mean, there's so many examples in my life personally, in watching other people's lives, that just keep telling you if you keep hoping, praying, trying, talking about good things happening, there's a strong chance they will. I mean, my favorite comment last year, and it's just so truthful, is, how can a redheaded guy adopt a redheaded kid? I mean, it's just the odds of that happening aren't even possible. And we had just experienced that, my wife and I, as a family, right before going into the New Jersey series. And so when people ask me, can you possibly beat New Jersey when you're not playing well and they've dominated you and you're 8th seed and they're number 1, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, I just adopted a redhead. I mean, how can this not be a possibility? And so it was important, I think, for myself and the coaching staff as people that are leaned on for leadership to make sure that our players felt what we felt, and that's that anything was possible and that we had enough talent to get it done if we'd just stick with a game plan and everybody would work hard. And And the guys did that, and we were able to beat New Jersey in the playoffs. Well, there's a lot of things people don't know, but he played probably as or more hurt than was ever indicated publicly. It nearly killed him mentally to not be in those games. And when we got to Game 6, in any other situation at all, he shouldn't have been playing. There was just too much risk to aggravating that injury. But he knew that was potentially our last game, and the thought of not playing in our last game and having to sit on that all summer was too much to bear. So he put himself in that game no more than 75% of what his capabilities were, and still managed to, in the 60th minute or 58th minute, score after he had exerted himself that entire game and find enough energy to play into overtime and score in overtime. So talk about the great feats in sports history. It's way up there as far as a physical sacrifice that guy made to come back and help his team. Hopefully that excitement from that game was part of, at least a little teeny part, of keeping this team in this town, keeping Mario believing that there was enough support in the city and the fans that this was a franchise worth saving. And so hopefully that playoff series with New Jersey was part of saving this franchise and saving the game for the fans of Pittsburgh, because truly they showed during that series that it was something that was important to them. The city was excited, the people were excited, and so hopefully we were part of that. If we can, you know, put ourselves as part of that history, I mean, we'd be real proud of that.
It was quite a spring when you consider all the commotion. It was quite a summer when you consider all the commotion. But here we are on a cool October night, and there is hockey in Pittsburgh. By the way, in the first intermission, we are going to be interviewing National Hockey League Commissioner Gary Bettman about how they were able to save the franchise for Pittsburgh and some other agendas on the NHL menu. When we come back, we're going to hear from the new owner, and it still sounds strange to say that, Mario Lemieux. And by the way, Mario plans to address the crowd here at the arena tonight. You will not miss any of the festivities. We will broadcast it all right here on Fox Sports Net Pittsburgh, including the hockey game. So stay right there.
College Football Saturday on Fox Sports Net.
I don't know if Mario ever played goalie as a kid, probably not with his goal-scoring ability, which was fairly evident in his basement at the age of 4, but no one's ever made a better save than the one that Mario made this offseason. When he was playing, Mario was accessible to the media, but only on certain occasions, generally after he scored a hat trick or something like that, which was pretty often, or he won a Stanley Cup, which happened a couple of times. But Mario, now as the owner, has taken on more of a public role, even in his private life. He has chosen to appear on SportsBeat this past week. We were delighted and honored to have him. He was on with me and Guy Junker on Wednesday's edition of SportsBeat and answered several and varied questions.
Did your experience as a player and what you've experienced in your life help you to persevere through this, as I said, torturous process?
Yeah, there were some tough times throughout the bankruptcy process, having to deal with a lot of different parties, with the senior lenders, of course SMG and Fox. But I think at the end it was all worth it. There was some ups and downs, and I was always optimistic that we could pull it off and keep the Penguins here where they belong in Pittsburgh. And I'm optimistic by nature. So, but there were some times where it was pretty rough for everybody.
But you're in a new ball game now, in a new arena where you maybe don't know as much as a lot of the other people.
And that way it was so important for me to surround myself with guys like Tom Rooney and Ken Sawyer, who spent 14 years with the NHL as a CFO. And of course, the advisors that I have around me, Tony Liberati, who has been with the franchise since the beginning, and he's somebody that I rely on a daily basis to kind of guide me through the business side, and other people that I rely on in Pittsburgh. So I know this is all brand new to me. I know this is going to be a learning process, and I need some help, and I get the best people around me to be working with and learning from. So I feel very comfortable so far in my new job.
What cannot happen that happened before, so this franchise is never in jeopardy again?
Well, we have to keep our revenues. I think that's what happened in the past, where Howard has made some bad deals because he had to at the time to purchase the franchise. So I think we have to keep our revenues and make sure that we don't make any bad deals, or if we can't afford to pay a player like Hatcher, we just can't keep him. So I think that's the business side has to be run like a business, and that's what we're going to do in the future.
Have you talked at all about a possible site for a new building, or what direction is that heading, or has that just been on the back burner?
I think that's down the road. For right now, for us, is to try to make the business better, and we know that eventually for this team to be viable and to stay in Pittsburgh, we're going to need a new arena. And I think that the city understands that. They want to work with us when the time comes, but for right now, we're not doing anything on the new arena.
One hockey question. Favorite goal?
I think it would have to be the Canada Cup. That really changed my whole career around, the whole Canada Cup, the whole process, playing with the best players in the world and playing against the Russian in that final was something that taught me a lot and really changed my career around.
You and Gretzky had a great rivalry going for a long time, but during that Canada Cup, you did learn a lot from him, too.
Oh, it was great. Just having a chance to practice with him and spend some time with him and talk about the game and just watching him practice. He was practicing so hard and dedicated to the game, and really taught me a lot, and I came back with a lot of confidence and went on to win 2 Stanley Cup probably because of that.
It was our pleasure to have Mario on SportsBeat on Wednesday. We hope to have him at certain points throughout the year, and it was the first ever such appearance on such a show, even when Mario was a player. So our thanks to him.